We all know by now, or we should know by now, that if there was one skill in the world that you need to develop for everything that you could possibly want in life, whether it's success, achievement, fulfillment, peace, ultimate fulfillment in what you were called to do on earth, then we all know that skill, that thing that we should be cultivating is faith, right? Faith, another word for faith is confidence. You have confidence for future outcomes. It's the substance of things unseen. However, it's assurance that gives you the willingness to actually move forward and be relentless in the pursuit of the things that you actually want in life. So the question has to be, why don't as many people have faith as they should? And I think it's a very simple answer. You see, people don't have faith because they don't have alignment. But that is a lie I think we've been told. And in this video, I'm going to explain how you can get back into alignment very quickly if you so choose to do so and follow the steps that's actually in this video. And the reason I say it's a lie as we get straight into it, and what's up, YouTube? It's been a minute since you see my face, but we back. King J is back on the tool. Hope y'all doing well, blessed, on your purpose, get into a bag, all that good shit. But the reason why most people don't have alignment in their lives is because they believe they're not aligned. You see, it requires faith to be aligned on your path. You must believe that where you are right now is where you're supposed to be going. And that's how I would define alignment, right? Alignment is the feeling that you are right where you need to be and doing exactly what you need to be doing in order to move forward. And I think when we become in alignment with our true self, with who we really are and the purpose that God has on our lives, I believe that when we step in that true alignment, we start to notice the world around us shift. You see, when we change our internal state, when we change how we feel about what is happening externally, then if we do that in the correct way, our external reality begins to shift. And I'm not just saying this, but I'm saying this from experience, that every time I felt this sense of alignment, you start to notice so many different signs and synchronicities and things that pop up. But I think we can sometimes confuse the signs and synchronicities as the confirmation that we're aligned, when the confirmation should be how we feel about what we're doing. You see, if we put the chicken before the egg, or the egg before the chicken, however you want to phrase it, but if we put the signs and synchronicities before the alignment, now we have more faith in the external world than we do have in the internal world. So what am I talking about right now? Because this can, seem a little heady. This can seem a little complicated. And I want to be very, simple and practical in all the content I make, and especially in this video, so you can get the most out of it to be able to immediately tap into the alignment in your life. And the first step of that is to become aware that you are already aligned. But the reason you don't feel aligned is because you're probably missing either one of two areas. You see, in order for us to fully tap into alignment, what I believe it requires is full submission to God's will, but full understanding and worthiness within our own self. You see, I think Jesus, the master teacher himself, God in the flesh himself, embodied this perfectly. When we study Jesus's life, we can observe and see that, Jesus was fully aligned his entire time here on earth. And we notice this through the things that he talked about. He was very comfortable when people asked, like, who is God, right? Like, who is the Most High? He was very comfortable to say, I am. Like, I am who that one that you're looking for. He was fully embodied in the God identity. However, he didn't let that God identity turn into arrogance, which we can do so many times. We can become cocky. We can start to believe that it's our own works that's making it happen. But Jesus was very aware enough to say that greater is my Father in heaven than me. Like I would have to get the exact verse, but he said various things along the lines of, not my will, but the Father's will in heaven, let it be done. And he said things along the lines of, it's not I, but I only do what I see my Father in heaven do. right? And, you know, he says something along the lines of, you know, I am great, but my Father in heaven is greater than I. So it was this deep reverence for spirit. And I think we miss that in our modern culture, where it's so much about what you can do personally, right? What work can you do? Like, how can you go and make it happen, right? And I think this is due to a lot of, again, the culture and self-improvement, personal development, which is great, but the way that us as people that want to become the best version of ourselves, as we want to embody more of the version of ourselves who does get everything they desire in life and also live very fulfilled, I think that comes from this mindset that, you know, every good thing about us comes from God. This is where the video gets good. Every good thing about us comes from God. Like our mind, the ability to think, the ability to use our mind, the ability to tap into our subconscious, the ability to reprogram, the ability to identity shift, however you want to frame it, the ability to manifest, the ability to have dominion, first comes from God, right? And when we acknowledge that it comes from God, we can have reverence for the Father in heaven. And through this reverence through the Father in heaven, we naturally become less attached to outcomes, right? Because if we study manifestation, if we study any law of assumption, law of attraction content, anything that says, how do you go out there and create your dreams to reality, right? And then we'll notice that there's this law of detachment, but we're not able to detach often because we feel like our results is our cause. We feel like what happens in our life is up to us purely, right? But what I'm here to say is that if we really want to be aligned with our highest version of ourselves, is we must be able to surrender. We must be able to let go of the outcome. We must be able to let go of what happens next. We must to believe that, yes, I'm great. God has given me ability to make things happen. However, there is somebody greater than me in heaven. And this is, in my opinion, proper alignment, right? Because if we say that we are creators or co-creators with God, we have to understand that the ability to which you're able to create is going to be defined by your creation, correct or incorrect? Like, we can say that, you know, maybe Kanye West is the greatest creator of hip hop music or music in general of all time because his actual creations are better than everybody else. You know, maybe that's more a subjective opinion, but I think we can all agree that the creation of the universe itself, the creation of Earth itself, the creation of animals themselves, the creation of you and how uniquely and divinely made yourself is the greatest creation of all time. Like, creation itself is the greatest creation of all time. And I don't know about you, but I don't see nobody else creating a whole nother creation, right? Like, we can try our best with, you know, AI and, you know, whatever, insert creation here, you know, go to Mars, create a rocket, whatever it may be. We can try our best to create, but at the end of the day, the greatest creation is creation ourselves. So we don't have the understanding that maybe there is somebody greater in heaven who's better at this ability to create things in my life than me, and I need to have reverence for this spirit, then we can never understand our own power. Because it says also that that spirit is what lies in us. Right? So alignment is truly about this balance of feeling extremely confident and also extremely empathetic. And this is also the key to sales, the key to persuasion, because again, what we have to do is we have to convince ourselves that we're already aligned. That is the key. And if we're not able to persuade ourselves that we're already aligned, we won't feel aligned. If we don't feel aligned, we won't have the power of the, I believe, God to be able to work in our lives, right? Like we cut that off. You know, we cut off that reservoir because we believe either we're not worthy and we have to do it all ourselves, or we believe that God's going to do it all for us and we don't have to do anything. But this feeling of alignment, this is this proper mix of I'm a co-creator with God. Like God has given me ability, and also God is greater than I. But we have to persuade ourselves of this idea. So I've been trying to persuade you of this idea that we should be in the middle by one, having confidence, right? Like having confidence in ourselves, having confidence in our own ability, having confidence that God uniquely, divinely created you to be a person that has dominion, to be a spirit that has dominion on earth, right? Like we're divinely created for that. However, at the same time, we have to understand that we aren't able to create creation. Like we aren't that good. Like yeah, he created us to have dominion. However, we ain't that good at having dominion, or we will be probably creating a whole nother universe if we was the best at it, like the Father in heaven is, right? So through the acknowledgement, now we can surrender, now we can tap in, now we can let go, now we can ask, now we can divinely receive. And through this process of being extremely confident in our ability, and the way that you're going to be extremely confident in your ability is you recognize that God put his ability in you. That's first and foremost. But then we also have to be empathetic with ourselves in order for us to actually accept that we need to surrender, or else we'll feel like we have to do it all ourselves. And this is the process of sales. You know, I always say the best salesmen in the world strike this balance of confidence, and empathy. Extremely confident about their product, but you're empathetic to people's situation. So in this case, the product is the Holy Spirit. The product is your spirit that should be aligned with God's purpose for your life, right? So we need to be confident in that spirit. However, we need to be empathetic to that spirit and understand that that spirit has fallen short in some way, whether it's through brainwashing, whether it's through believing the wrong things. And through that process of being empathetic for where we are in our current situation, we understand that we can ask for help from our Father in heaven. And it says that when we ask for help, we can have assurance that he will respond. And this is faith. And this is what we tap into when we become aligned with our divine purpose, which is to ultimately solve our own problems. And the biggest problem we have in this world today, I believe, is a lack of faith. You know, Jesus Christ talked about this as well. So we need to solve the problem of lack of faith. How do we do it? We do it by being extremely confident in the power that he put in you to go and be able to make it happen. However, you don't have to make it happen, because there is somebody greater in heaven that can give you power if you so humble yourself and ask, right? This is why they talk so much about humbling yourself in the Bible. And it's the understanding, it's the heart positioning. Since we manifest from the heart, since the feeling is the secret, right? It's the heart positioning of understanding that I'm not as great as I think I am, therefore I need assistance, therefore I can let go. And when we let go, we start to manifest easier. We start to see our whole world shift, because we're now more aligned with how we were divinely created to create on this earth. So I hope that makes sense. If you like the video, comment what you want to see next. We back on YouTube. Let's get it. King J in the building. Let's go.